Hey guys, David Detting the Marquez, and this is an episode of the Fight Fan Culture Podcast.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Isaac Lawrence in the building. I'm here with HAYK, his photography. We got another special guest, Curtis, I Capture Violence, and of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Adam ARABY. So first of all, how you guys doing? I'm gonna start with Adam. How you doing, bro?
Great, man. Here we are down at Buena Park. Just got done swim training. Got to train with Curtis for the first time. That was pretty sick. Yeah, beautiful SoCal day. Can't complain, man.
Curtis, not only do you capture violence, but you were out here, you know, putting violence on some people. How was that, man?
Yes, sir. Good. I'm pretty tired right now, but I'm ready to spar after this. Maybe see if I can land a couple of shots on HAYK before he takes me out.
Speaking of HAYK, man, you got any rebuttal to that?
We did the face-off the other day,
Yes,
so
sir.
we're ready for the fight. It's a long time coming, but I think it's time for us to settle our score, buddy.
Yeah.
Quick, somebody call Jimmy Truesdale.
yeah. Just sub him in for me.
Yeah, right?
Yo, David, thank you for allowing us to come here. You know, you were coaching. I didn't get to train, unfortunately, but I saw you working my guys over here like dogs.
Yeah.
You know, you got a fight coming up. Let's talk a little bit about your fight, bro. Everybody knows you as just a stand-up legend. You got 2 bouts, Muay Thai, kickboxing, but you're doing something that I've never seen you done. I don't know if these other gentlemen here have seen you done, but you're going into MMA, bro.
Yeah.
What's been your process, your mental, just like, how's everything been going, switching from the striking to now doing mixed martial arts?
Honestly, not too big of an issue for me. I used to wrestle in high school. That's kind of where, like, I guess all of my real competitive fight sports journey started was in high school. Did football, sucked at it. Like I was just too small. One of my football coaches, shout out to Coach Hastings, he was like, "Yo, bro, you know how to like tackle, but like you know like weirdly like try wrestling." Did that all 4 years. Made varsity my first year, so I know how to wrestle for sure. Did some training with which not too many people know, but for probably about like a year or so, I trained with Josh Barnett and his team out of UFC Gym La Mirada. There was a couple of other people on there. Victor Henry was a part of the team. A couple of other people, some women who made it to like WWE now. They're doing like, you know, that type of wrestling. But I trained some catch wrestling underneath him, so I know how to get my way around the ground game. So it wasn't too big of an issue for me, transitioning from the striking to MMA and grappling. My mindset is just kind of the same as it's always been. You know, do the work and it'll pay off, you know?
And do you have a record in MMA?
0. I've helped out many pro fighters and other people in camps and stuff like that, but I've yet to put any mark on my record. Nothing official, no smoker MMA fights either.
So this is your debut?
Debut for MMA.
And I gotta hand it off to my guys over here, Adam, Curtis. You guys basically have seen this guy at Fighters Rep since the beginning. I'll start with Adam and then get to Curtis. What has what insight can you provide some of the fans who maybe don't know who David is?
Well, for one, don't blink. Like, 'cause, man, the pace you fight at has me winded every time I'm ringside. Like, you can see me on like the sidelines of David fights. Man, I don't even know how you fight at the pace. But nah, like I'll give a quick description as well. Just high pressure, great knockout power. High volume, always in your face, and just like nonstop action is the way I would describe your style.
Thank you.
As well as just kind of like being able to combine certain techniques of like, I'd say more traditional, like Muay Thai and a little more traditional martial arts, but in that new style flavor. And so kind of getting to see you make this transition has been pretty exciting. You know, obviously behind the scenes, you know, I'm not too far from you, so we've been talking about it for a little while, so it's pretty cool to see the actual unveiling of it, you know? Because I remember we were talking like literally years ago, I feel like, you know, about you making that transition. And so to see you do it now is just absolutely exciting. And what I'm really curious about is to see how well you do in those like 4-ounce gloves. You know, like how do you feel about it, getting to kind of switch it up? And as well as we know with 4-ounce gloves, and as you know, some Muay Thai fans as well, we can all attest that it does change the striking game when you are able to hand trap, hand grab. Now, like we said, we include the element of grappling, but how do you think that's going to change your striking style?
Definitely been working on, you know, certain footwork aspects of how to be placing my feet for an MMA fight. Of course, base settings. You know what I mean? I've been tinkering around on them, but not too far off. You know, I want to once again just show everybody that I'm gonna have the best striking, and I said it to you guys behind the scenes too, but I really do doubt there's gonna be anybody from the MMA background that's gonna have just straight better striking than me. So I'm definitely gonna bring that to the game and showcase that for sure. You know, sprawl and brawl, baby, let's get it. But yeah, man, I don't think it's gonna derive me too far from my natural game. And yeah, talking about the 4-ounce gloves, like, man, I just tell all my teammates too, like, I cannot wait to place a fucking punch on somebody's jaw with the small gloves. Like I mean, you guys see me knock people out with big gloves. So when the small gloves come into play, guards tighter, they can't slip this. Oh, I'm excited for it.
And what about you, Curtis? Like, I know you're everywhere, man. You're like, you literally are capturing violence, bro. You're at jiu-jitsu competitions, you're at PKBs, MMA, everything.
Yeah.
So what are you most excited to see for David's debut?
Well, I'm just excited to continue to get to follow his career. I mean, I've got to see, I think maybe one of his first fights ever in Fighters Rep, and I've followed him this whole time. So seeing him progress, seeing him get even more dangerous than he started out with, he gets more and more creative every time. So to see him mix it up with the 4-ounce gloves, what I'm excited to see is that he'll be able to work more angles with his punches, which he already does a lot with the big gloves, but I feel like he'll be able to slip through people's guard, around their guard, and I think he's gonna find a lot of success with that. So I'm really excited to see that. I'm also just excited to see his hands go even faster than they do already. I enjoy the challenge of shooting someone who moves that quickly and that unpredictably. So yeah, it's an exciting challenge to try to shoot his fight. And I'm looking forward to it a lot. I'm always looking forward to his fights. So when it's on a card, you can guarantee it's going to be the best fight on the card, if not like tied with another one, maybe, but it's almost certainly the best fight on the card, even if I've shot him on like a 20-fight card before and it's still stood out. So, and this one probably is going to be a 20-fight card also. So it's a good thing that he's bringing the style that he has to this, because he'll still be remembered after so many other fights on the card.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's true, man.
That's good.
HAYK, man, you know, you've been also capturing a lot of photos. You've gotten to see this guy throughout the years. You've been at pretty much almost every UpNextFighting event. So you've seen them grow as a promotion. And now they're adding one of the local legends. Just give me some insight on how you're feeling about that.
Up Next doesn't put any normal, like, regular Joe on their card. You know? It has to be somebody worthy of being on that card. So if Ryan Buckner hit you up and said, "We got a fight for you," you've been on their radar for a while. So
I got a funny thing to say about it. Sorry to cut you off, but continue. But I'll say something after.
Just when I saw you on that card, I'm like, that's gonna be the best card. Every card they have, we say it's the best card they have. But this one, hands down, it's gonna have the best card set up, and you might be the fight of the night. So it's
thank you.
And I'm looking forward to because throughout the years you've tightened up your style a lot too. Like, you were a little bit. The first time I saw you, you were fucking fast and a little wild.
Yeah.
But the last few times I saw you, refined your technique a little bit, calmed it down a little bit more, like tighter Muay Thai. So I think that's gonna transition better with the 4-ounce gloves, and it's just gonna it's gonna be knockout after.
And these guys are glazing you over here, bro.
Dude, I know. I feel like I'm like, whew, chill.
It's gonna be a good card. So I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to see you in UNF. You know, it's a good promotion, and it just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, it's a great promotion. The thing that I had to say too is that I know it sounds funny, and most of the time, like, you know, coaches set up the fights for you and everything like. But honestly, since the beginning of my career, I've always been the fighter that I'm just chomping at the bit. I actually reach out to all promoters, all people, and I set up and I make my own fights. So I actually reached out to UNF and I was like, hey, I want to fight on your promotion. Like, went underneath all their Instagram, like found out like, oh, this is the promoter. Oh, this is the matchmaker. Oh, this is the matchmaker for the amateur guys. Okay, clicked on him and I was like, yo, dude, want to fight? Like, give me a fight. Like, I need a fight. And then he's like, all right, let's make one happen. And yeah, so like, Actually, as you guys know, like I'm a go-getter in the ring, but definitely outside the ring, like I chomp at the bit to get every one of my fights.
So I think I know the answer to this, but after this, who would be your next opponent in the octagon? And
I mean, they already said it, right? They already said it. I mean, come on, which I know I'm not trying to like get too ahead of myself, but you know, you have to speak things into existence, and I definitely do believe so. That once I get that win on July 6th, I'm gonna be fighting for the UNF title. You know, for the Up Next Rising Stars title, and as they say, I'm up next, right? But yeah, no, I'm coming for him. Don't even need to say his name. He knows who he is. He knows who I am. So yeah, definitely. That's right
Well,
there.
for
in the
those
horizon.
of you who don't know who he's talking about, we're talking about Nathan Hawthorne. And
Oh no, I'm talking about the title holder for UNF Rising Stars. That's
I wanted to see Nathan Hawthorne.
we were talking about.
that's what everybody's talking about.
I didn't want to correct you. I knew he meant the current
That's what I
title holder
meant.
because I remember Nathan Hawthorne.
Yeah.
You mean Marquez, but,
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
lost
my
it.
bad. Pargev,
But
right?
yeah, but then
thought
I
he
was
was
like,
done
I was
also,
like, no,
but-
he's challenging for the title, guys. Don't
Okay.
say Nathan.
Yeah,
going straight for
Well,
the
okay. The reason why
Everybody wants to see Nathan.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see
I'm
him.
gonna-
Even he wants to see me fight myself again. But bro, come on. I mean, it sucks to say, but like, I know that our fight's just eating at him. Like, he came to Fighters Rep to try to become that triple champ. Like, I'm gonna be a Muay Thai champ. I'm gonna be a MMA champ. And then watch me beat this kid, David, who's the hot shot. And then after I beat him, I'm gonna become the kickboxing champ. And I shut that shit down. And like, I never wanna like put any bad like shit out there. Never wanna talk down on him. Like, I beat you that night. It was fucking unanimous and like, it's eating him away. And that's why he just keeps fucking talking about me everywhere I go. I even saw him at the open workouts when I was helping Sergio, and I told him, I was like, yo, keep my name out your fucking mouth. And he didn't have anything else to say. He fucking walked away from me after that, so that was cool. But once again, when he was on stage for Fighters Rep, he had some shit to say. So it's like, bro, we'll meet again, trust me, it'll happen. But like I said, I got things to do. I'm setting goals, and they're definitely above yours, buddy, so let's get it.
I gotta ask, I gotta speak on that day of the open workout as the guy who was there, as the local Fighters Rep worker who had to be the almost in between guy. Like you remember?
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, Curtis was busy, and all of a sudden I look over in the corner of the gym, and I see like David lifting weights, and I've never seen this guy like more amped up. Like he's like walking around, puffed chest out, just like an animal, just being like, man, that motherfucking leg, just like staring Nathan down. I was like, let me go check in here just to make sure everything's okay. And
Being a
I
little
see
too riled up.
David, and David was just on time. He's like, man, that dude, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da," you know, and you just being like, yo, you want me to say something? You got a mic? You want me to say something? I was like, I do not, David. Not today. And then,
Fighters Rep, your mom was ready to attack him too.
Bro, oh my God.
My mom's ready to attack everybody, bro. She's right there in the ring with me, man.
Dude, the best part was when he called you out in the ring. I was dying at your reaction because you see Nathan, and it's like the intensity that you two have for each other, where we've never seen Nathan like that. Like, I'm gonna beat your mom,
For real.
Yeah, like this guy's just in there laughing his head off.
just
Right as this
fucking
guy's like just being like, I'm gonna whoop your ass, and David's dying laughing, like with his mom right there. I'm like, this is the greatest moment ever. I wish people could have my perspective right now. This is so awesome.
Well, when that fight comes into fruition, I'm gonna be honest, we're gonna have to do like a countdown video with both of you
Bro,
guys.
for real.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta keep it going, baby. Let's go.
From Fighters Rep to Up Next, we're gonna do a Fight Fan Culture countdown video for
do the trilogy in a parking lot.
Yeah, Hey, for real, I always tell everybody, I'm one of those guys, you guys can get it anywhere, you know, but yeah, like it's happening now, you know. You can get it in kickboxing, you can get it in MMA, you know, that's the guy I'm trying to be, you know. Like I said, you guys already said it too, got the kickboxing title, got the Muay Thai title just recently, and yeah, that's like I said, in my goals, and it's very close, obtainable, and in my mindset, I'm gonna get it done. So MMA championship is right there, and I'm gonna snag that shit.
And speaking of Nathan, MMA, we have another person who's going to be making, or who's fighting MMA, which is actually one of Nathan's coaches, Cody Sessions.
Yeah.
So for me, and Curtis, I'll ask you, one of my dream matchups, I know you're not pro yet, but you're going to be transitioning to pro in the
Yeah.
near future, is to see you and Cody Sessions.
Yeah, bro. Hey,
my God.
honestly, everybody says it, and just like take out the whole squirrel squad, right? Like start with all of his fighters, and then take out the head coach. You know what I mean? Like, fuck it, man. If it happens, it happens. You know, I don't have anything bad to say about him. Once again, he's talking about me too. Like their head coach has my name in his mouth, so you know that's them. I'm never gonna say anything bad about them. Like I said, I'm gonna do me, and if I continue to do what I'm doing, it seems I'm making waves in the right places. So just gonna keep doing me.
So Curtis, do you have any dream matchups for my guy here?
I mean, I would like to, if he wins his next matchup and he does fight for the title, I'd like to see him fight Pargav. I would like to see how his wrestling holds up.
Yeah.
I think Pargav is probably the best wrestler in UNF, especially at the bantamweight. I mean, at the amateur level, and definitely in his weight class. But I mean, he's smothering. He's impossible to even do anything against. So.
And he takes flight. There's a couple parts where he like grabs people and like,
incredible.
shoom, he like jumps across the ring. People are like, fuck, that guy's
he's
like a
not just
frog with
taking
the
people down,
takedowns.
he's throwing people across
Yeah.
the ring. He's suplexing people multiple times in a row.
Yeah, the way he was
Like,
ragdolling Nathan was fucking funny.
I like Nathan, so I'm not going to agree. But it was incredible to see him handle someone like that so easily.
Yeah.
And so to see you up against him, I think it would give you a big opportunity to prove yourself and answer a lot of people's questions that they have about your grappling, myself included.
Most definitely,
Yeah.
dude. That's gonna be like
So,
everybody's question. Like,
yeah.
can this striker handle
Can
a
you
grappler?
handle the grappler
Yeah.
in the UNF? Yeah.
That's gonna be exciting.
What about
That's
you,
what we're here
Hayk?
for.
Do you got any dream matchups or anybody you want to see David go after?
I would honestly like to see that Hawthorne match, but Pargav would be a good chess match for both of you guys.
Yeah.
He's, like Curtis said, the number one
Yeah, the
grappler in the UNF right now. And when I was talking to him before his last fight, I'm like, you know, Nathan's good too. He's like, bro, Nathan's good, but I've been doing this since I was like 4 years old. This is second nature to me. So he's on a different level. So I would like to see, like Curtis said, how you would match up with him, you know, because you're top level striking, he's top level grappling. So that
How
makes,
does it match? Yeah.
that's going to be amazing. You know?
Yeah.
So Nathan did pretty decent in that fight. I
Honestly, thought he
did
had a great
better.
fight.
Yeah. He fought off that takedown quite a few times, kept it on the feet. So if you can do that with a guy like that, I think
Yeah.
advantage.
Once again, I'm never gonna put down anybody's skills. Like I think Nathan had a great fight, and he trains out of a great gym too, XFit, and he has Cody Sessions, who I think is like 10th Planet, right, associated, and then out of the Dan Henderson gym. And I mean, come on, like if you're training out there, you know they got some good wrestling. So I always say, I think Nathan's a great fighter. I was just better than him that night. You know what I mean? And that's why I think it's so funny that we just always happen to just meet in the same pool. Everybody just brings us up because it was such a great fight. You know what I mean?
I mean, you guys are definitely the top prospects in your
You
division.
need somebody like that.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
need somebody like that to step up your game.
To push the game, yeah.
And, you know, it's like you might fight him and he might be better at something and you'll step it up and it just keep on going into the pros. And a rivalry is a good thing. You know?
Yeah, dude, exactly.
So, my guy Adam, you got anything you want to learn? I mean, or anything you can tell us about David? Because, you know, I've been watching you for the past 2 years, but I feel like there's still a lot of things that I don't know about you. Is there any insight you can give me on the Death Dealer?
Well, first, man, I want to get my dream matchup, you know?
Forgot about that.
So, you could beat up my middle school bully. That'd be really great. you
What's
know?
his name?
Like,
What's his name?
I think his name was Connor. I don't know. Some idiot white kid, you know?
Come to my gym, buddy.
There was a guy that cut me off last week, too.
Yeah.
Like, if you could get that guy.
Exactly.
Nah, man.
I take them all. I take all comers.
No, like I said, I got to piggyback here and just you and the UNF title, rematch Nathan Hawthorne, and then take on Cody Sessions. I think would be a pretty badass storyline, like depending on how everything plays out.
Yeah.
But also, too, let's say like, because I gotta admit, I'm also a fan of Nathan. Like you guys 1-1 trilogy in the pros.
Exactly,
like,
right.
That's just where my mind's turning. But in terms of insight, yeah, man, don't sleep on this guy's grappling. Like I know we are hyping up the striking, but like you know,
It's well deserved, right?
it is well deserved as it is. But you know, I think we are going to be pretty surprised. Like you got to look at David's lineage here in terms of grappling. Like you've trained around some very like good guys, you know, and I think there is a difference that people have to remember. we all get caught up in like the highlights of looking at the ADCCs, the EBIs, the this grappler, that grappler, this thing, that thing. MMA grappling and grappling are very two different beasts, you know, very, very two different beasts. So I want people to really remember that it's a full range of skill sets being put together, and that just because David, yes, he has a very prominent striking background, is well accomplished in that world, I think we'll be surprised just the ability for him to be able to mix that up, you know? I've you know, shot a few like joke takedowns. The guy was ready, you know? He was pounding at my leg, like he was ready to shove my head into this concrete, like. But no, I think they'll be really surprised, and I want fans to really know the big difference between MMA grappling and grappling.
Yeah. Well, I kind of want to switch it up a little bit. You know, we've been talking a lot about you, all the glazing.
Yeah.
We need to chill for a sec.
Let's simmer it down. Yeah, right?
So we have another guest in the house. We got I Capture Violence sitting to the right of you.
Yes, dude. This guy is the guy that fucking makes me look good. I mean, without literally this whole crew here, this would just be fighting people, you know, in a bar, bro.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to glaze you. Never mind. I'm not gonna say nothing. We're just trying to simmer it down, bro. But Mr. I Capture Violence, let's get a little bit of your story. One of the things that we want to do here at Fight Fan Culture is not only highlight the fighters. Obviously, that's why we do what we do, but is also to highlight the people in the combat sports world that maybe don't get the shine that they deserve as well. Bro, I've seen you. You've been in the game longer than me, but I've seen you for the past 2 years just grinding, man. And I guess my first question, everybody jump in if you want. When did you start, and how did you even get started doing combat sports?
I mean, I started watching UFC fights when I was in high school. My best friend is a judo black belt, and so he was like, you got to see this. There's this girl, Ronda Rousey, and she's doing the impossible. Like, she's using judo and beating people with it like it's nothing. Like, you got to see this. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll finally watch these fights. I had no interest in fights. I was like, oh, it's probably gross. There's blood, and so I don't want to see any of that. Oh, nasty. Yeah. And he got me to watch it, and I was like, okay, this is pretty incredible. And then I saw Darren Elkins fighting against Mirsad Bektic.
The damage.
And he got beat to a pulp for like 2.5 rounds. He's just covered in blood.
Yes.
Mirsad Bektic gets tired though, and he gets on top of him, and he's beating him up. And as he's standing up, kicks him in the face, and Bektic just folds on himself. And Elkins turns around in this primal scream, and that, like, I'm like getting emotional talking about it right now. Like, that made me, I was like, this is the best sport I've ever seen.
Yeah, dude.
This is the greatest sport on earth. I don't want to watch anything else. I was like, I didn't watch any sports before. I hate football, soccer, baseball. That stuff sucks. It's lame, it's boring. I don't like it. I saw that. I was like, I'm watching this every week now. And I started just watching all the UFC fights. Then I was like, oh, there's local fights? Oh, I'm going to start watching these too. And I was like, oh, there's kickboxing? I'm going to start watching these too. And then the pandemic hit, everything shut down. And I was like, this sucks. I'm so bored. And then the UFC was the only thing on. And I was like, oh, this is cool though. We can still at least do this. And then when stuff started opening back up, I was like, I want to start watching all these fights locally. I want to start going to all these. I can't afford to do that. The tickets are really expensive. But I like photography, and someone has to stand on the edge and take the pictures. Why not me? So I looked up, I started looking at like reading guides of like famous like boxing photographers. And then my favorite photographer personally is Esther Lin. She's at All Elbows on Instagram. She's the best all time. She's shot for Pride, Ryzen, UFC, Bellator, any fight you can possibly think of. She's shot for them before, WWE, everything. She's amazing. So I was like, I'm gonna look up what she shot for, like what she used like 10 years ago, so I can probably afford it. And so I bought the exact kit that she had, and I went out and I started shooting fighters in their gyms. I went to Logic BJJ in Laverne, which was like real close, like close by to where I live. So I was like, I'll just go here because these guys are close. They're like the nicest people I've ever met. So I got super lucky there. They're totally awesome. They're like, you can come by anytime and practice. So I got practice shooting people grappling because I didn't understand grappling still that well. Like my friends always explain it to me while I'm sitting there, but seeing it happen in person is a lot different. And then I was like, I need to shoot somebody striking in a gym. So I started looking up people locally, and I met Vinny Familari, who I'm sure you've heard of, the best. Great friend of mine now. I got super lucky again. So like, it's been serendipitous. I've gotten so lucky. So I hit him up and I was like, if I can come shoot you practicing in your gym just so I can get the timing with the photos and, you know, the shutter. And he was like, yeah, you can come by anytime. So I went and I shot him and he was like, I'm fighting in like 3 weeks. Do you want to shoot? I was like, yeah, that's awesome. He's like, yeah, let me see if I can get you hired. He got me hired by Fighters Rep. And I've been shooting for like a month. And so I got to shoot professional fights. And then I had professional fight photos in my portfolio, which made it so much easier to kind of snowball and get into other stuff. And so I made it my goal to shoot something every week, because the only way to get good at something is to practice it. And so if I didn't have fights to shoot that weekend, I would shoot at a local gym and I'd do promo for somebody. I'd shoot, you know, a local competition for jiu-jitsu or a PKB or whatever, and just get my reps in. And that's just the way you have to do it. I just learned something every week. I learn a little bit more, I get a little better, and I'm still doing the same thing now. I'm still learning a little bit every week, all the time.
Man, I gotta give you your flowers, bro, because when I started in May of 2022. That's when I first started going to my first fights and trying to get into the combat sports world. And I saw you, and you were good, but in comparison to where you're at now, man, it's day and night. You've gotten so good. And back then you were only doing photos. Now you're doing videos. You have the camera, the instant shot now.
Yeah.
And dude, you're doing so much, and it's so cool to see that you're not only getting better and you're grinding, but you're also trying to be different and you're trying to be creative. And that's something that I think that the combat sports world needed. When I got here 2 years ago, I was like, man, I want to do something different. So when I see somebody else also doing that, man, I got to give you your flowers, bro. So
Thanks,
gotta
man.
give you
And they're the only
Thank you.
husband and wife team.
yeah. Shout out your wife, man.
Yeah, that's true. My wife started shooting with me. Like, she does not want to be on camera. Don't point that out. Delete that. She's like, no. But yeah, she started shooting with me like 10 months into when I was shooting. She was like, you're having a lot of fun, I can tell. And like, that was literally the only downside of this was when I was going out every weekend. I didn't get to spend my weekends with her. Yeah. I like to spend all my time with her. That's why I married her. So when she started shooting with me, she picked it up right away. I like set all the settings on the camera and all that, and she just shot. And now she can set everything by herself. So that's also been fun to watch her evolution in that. But she was killing it her first time out. We shot MMA fights, and she was getting she got a couple of knockout shots. She got like these sick walk-off shots. So it's nice to have her on the wide angle lens, and I go on the tight shots of people's faces and stuff, which she also doesn't like to do. So it works out.
I'm gonna ask David and Adam a question. You guys been in the game for years, a decade.
Yeah, half of one for me. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. How has media and just content creation, how has that changed over the past 5 years or so?
I would say the most significant change that you can honestly attribute to the success of why combat sports media has become so much more mainstream successful is the fact that it's so much more of an easier avenue to understand now, with so many content creators who have a much easier level of entry to be a fan of the sport. You know, like you said, pandemic was going on. What was the first sport to come back? Yeah. UFC. What was the first sport to have the most controversy too? UFC. On top of that, I was talking to people that I had never that was never interested. Yeah, we had the Conor boom, but MMA kind of started to die off a little bit post that kind of Floyd match and the Habib. Like, it was kind of getting back into like the niche thing of guys who train. You know, we have the pandemic that hits and everyone's talking about it. Everyone's talking about it in the news. It's now this mainstream storyline of like, what's this sport to be the first to return and everything and defy the whole rules, right? You know, and now you have it was something that people could talk about. You could hop on Instagram Reels and look at little shorts all day of like, this guy who's talking about it, this guy who's talking about it, this content creator. And all these guys who amass these little communities, like, what we're trying to do here at Fight Fan Culture, to where I could find other people who are fans of this, you know, and on top of it as well, like fighters, just their own evolution of, you know, like from guys on his level to the top, having vlog channels and having YouTube channels as well, where you can follow guys like Sean O'Malley, one of the best examples I think to ever do it, where you could watch his rise in real time. You could sit there, watch the vlog, watch the podcast. Oh, at this time, and you know, he was at this point of his career, and this is what he's thinking. And like, you're a fan, almost like a friend on that journey with him. So I would say that would be the one major thing, was like for the accessibility was just so much easier now than 5 years ago, versus being like, so is that like punching and kicking thing you guys do? You do that boxing thing, right? Versus people walk up and is like, oh, you train MMA? Like, whoa, like
you do that UFC, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like we've all been there. Like it's just like, you do the UFC thing, right? 5 years ago, versus like, oh, I train MMA, and all of a sudden people are like wanting to talk to me about this really cool hobby.
Yeah.
So I would say the accessibility and just the overall fact that now you can really follow these guys' storylines, and you know, like the same reason why vlog channels and other things have grown up. Like you fall in love with the personality.
And David, what about you from a fighter's perspective? I mean, you've been in the game for a while. 5 years ago, pre-pandemic, versus what it is today, what has that evolution looked like to you?
In terms of like how social media has affected like the sport and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, 5 years ago, there was a fight fan culture type of situation, but now, you know, there's a boom of people trying to cover the sport.
Yeah, it was really crazy, you know, like back then, like you said, it was more like niche, like only the people who trained knew about it would look up the research. Like back then, like it was like literally like only me and like a small group of my friends who would like hop on YouTube and look up like only like Muay Thai fighter names, or like only like a jiu-jitsu guy's name, or like, you know what I mean? It was never like big like MMA, you know what I mean? And MMA was big back then, but we would like, to get into like the real depth of fight sports, it was like we were like still like YouTubing and finding like, you know, but now like you said, it's like now you can just scroll down social media and just find pin after pin after pin of like Thai fights, MMA fights, jiu-jitsu competitions, all that stuff. And then as in terms of like a fighter standpoint of view, you know, like you have people who can be like the world's greatest fighter and never post a video. And now you can have like anybody can be a fighter because they post, you know, like, oh, I check out this new combo that I learned. It's like this McDojo life shit. You know what I mean? And it's like, so that's even like saturating this fucking pool that we're in now too, of like the fake martial artists that are just posting shit that it's like they're getting so much media, like eyes from a bunch of people. And then, like I said, you have like the real martial artists. I do pretty good about my social media because I know what it does now also. Like I said, from a fighter standpoint of view, you can be a great fighter, but if you're not active with your social media, you're lacking fans. Where are your videos? Oh, well, we want to see your fight. Well, how do you fight? Oh, well, I don't really have videos on it. Do you have any highlight clips? Do you have any? What kind of persona are you bringing? Well, all that's showed by like your straight up like Instagram, social media, like face. You go on that and it's like boom, we see. So it kind of sucks in some ways, but also it's so great. It's a tool, right? If you know how to use it. So as a fighter standpoint of view, the way that social media kind of has changed up the whole game is obviously it's given the fans so many different ways and avenues to view this sport, and it's opened it up to more, like you said, the more mainstream view instead of just being like, oh, I only watch basketball. Like now the average Joe watches MMA fights. You know what I mean? We got PFL, UFC, Bellator, like all these different sports. And then, like I said, fighter standpoint of view, you got us trying to use it as a tool to promote ourselves more, to get more eyes on us. But then it also sucks because, like I said, then you have those like McDojo life people who are like killing the game for people too. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, like you're teaching fake shit or, you know, like clowning on real martial artists. And it's like, we're here to like, you know, do this to either make a living or to show everybody that like the warrior in us wants to speak and is saying, hey, like we want to be the greatest, like, you know? So I don't know, it's weird, but social media has been a great tool.
And then I had a point I wanted to kind of piggyback off that and get your opinion, because I'm glad you kind of leaned into the fact too about the whole like, I post a combo now and I'm a fighter thing. And point I kind of forgot to make to kind of add to your question of why I also blow up, and I want to see your opinion. Think about the fact too that mainstream influencers have entered this thing and made it so much more popular.
Dude,
You know
yes.
how many fitness guys I see who are like, just because they had a 10-year success in another industry like fitness, or whether it's weightlifting or anything. Oh, I trained a year of boxing. I'm a boxer now.
Yeah.
I've had no amateur fights. I spar maybe once a week, but I am a boxer. Like, you know, I would say that for one, would you say it's kind of a double? Because I have a very conflicted feeling on it. It's a double-edged sword where
Most definitely.
yeah, where it's bringing that audience, but I feel like it is cheapening the value of sometimes the titles of what it is to be a fighter. Sometimes, like
I said, is it the right audience that we're looking for? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
is like when you go out to like Japan, the audience out there who's watching the fights, super quiet. They're super involved. They're kind of like almost like watching the fight as like what it's supposed to, like the martial arts of the fight. Like, how is he doing it? And then, not to say, because I love the American fight fans too. The blood, I'm one of those guys. Give me more violence, you know what I mean? But then you have those people that are like, are you really here for the right reason, or are you just here to watch people fight and cause issues too? You know what I mean? So same thing with like this, like you said, like the mainstream social media people who are now, once again, saturating this martial artist area. It's like, okay, are you really a martial artist or are you a fighter? Because that's a different thing too. And then that, it's like, are you really even a fighter? You know, just because, you know, you have this social, I don't really know. But yeah, it's definitely, like you said, a double-edged sword. It brings a bunch of eyes to it, but then is it the right eyes that we want looking at this, you know?
And I gotta ask too, as an old school fan, man, you remember back in the days too, of like, and I love that you mentioned like the old Muay Thai fighter days, like, just to, again, give another example of like, this is how deep you had to go. Bro, remember being on the Vice Sports like YouTube channel? Every time they would drop maybe one documentary in the once in a 5 years, like if you were a training fan, like you lost your mind. You're like, like, you know, because it was anything. It was so hard to find like the
content
of
like
these
that,
guys. Yeah. You know, or my favorite old school one was like Warriors of the Mongkok.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
just shit like that. Like you said, you had to like do like deep dives or like find somebody who's like, oh, dude, I got this one old video from my uncle who spent like a weekend out in Thailand and he got like, you know what I mean? It's like, what, bro? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I got this one training video from like my grandpa who did like this one stint in Japan and he brought back this like, and it's like, what? You know, it's like, so yeah, it's definitely way different now.
Back when you would confuse Muay Thai and Thai Bo.
Yeah,
Like,
shit like that. Yeah.
No, it's a totally different, totally different.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of content, I want to ask Curtis, like, being a content creator, obviously hearing the stories of these lifelong martial artists, what do you think the next evolution of content creation looks like for people like me and you?
Next evolution of it, I mean, I find that we're getting, what I like about it is I feel like we're getting a lot closer to the fighters. We get to really tell their stories more in depth. I feel like social media has allowed us to be able to be brought together in a way that's not really possible usually. Like, this is the first time I've been out to this gym, but I've talked to David so many times. Like, this is my friend.
Yeah.
Like, that's the coolest thing. So I think that is I think that's the biggest evolution that we're getting, because before it was like, people would come out to your gym, they'd meet you for the first time, they'd shoot the promo video, and then they'd leave. I'm not gonna get the same kind of interaction with the fighter that I'd get if I go there and I already know them, and they're like, oh, I know this guy's gonna make me look good. Oh, I know I can do this move and he's gonna capture it right, it's gonna be cool. Oh, I'm gonna go do a backflip off the cage right now.
Yeah.
He's totally gonna get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you can do stuff like that because you know who you're working with.
Yeah,
so I
exactly.
think that's the biggest difference right now.
Yeah, man, and just to add to what you were saying, I think the biggest thing that we try to do here at Fight Fan Culture is tell the story, right?
Yeah.
To me, storytelling is like the main objective. So being able to work with different fighters, even other content creators, man, this has been just an amazing journey so far. And we just started, like, collectively, Fight Fan Culture. Obviously, individually, we've all been doing it for 2 years plus now.
Yeah.
But now that we have this little collective, this group, this community that we're trying to build together, and being able to tell stories, man, I just feel really blessed, and I feel like this is gonna snowball into something really, really cool. So I don't know how you guys feel about it, but
Well, let me gas you all up right now,
There you go,
right?
there
So
you
me as a fighter, all right, you guys already know me and my accolades, but I've gassed these guys up individually as I've met them throughout my fights. And like I said, as I've gotten to know them like longer and longer. It's been awesome. Got to actually know who they are, not just like, oh, you take pictures of me, but like, oh, like I know his wife, like I know his girlfriend, like I know your backstory, I know where you've been, like I know one of your best friends, like you know what I mean? He trains here, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy. This and then, like I said, I used to gas him like, dude. Oh, I seen you started off and like now you're doing this and oh, I see you're doing like podcasts. Like now you're coming and you're going to fighters' gyms, you're doing that thing on your own. Seeing this guy shoot one of my first fights and I was like, dude, that was awesome. Thank you for getting that photo. Oh, and continuously working together, so forth and so on still. And like you said, watching his growth, I told him literally right before this podcast started, I was like, watching you and your wife's growth of just taking the shots. I think that's probably one of the most coolest things for me as just a human being to watch somebody hone in on their craft and just get better at it. I think that's awesome. So to see you do that and just get better, I was like, dang, chopped him up, gave him his daps for that. I was like, every single time, same thing. I was like, what? He getting awesome videos, doing his other things, not just in the fight culture, but going out into other places and getting other awesome videos. I hyping up for that. And then when you guys all came together as this fight fan culture, I was like, individually, great people. Together, this thing is gonna be fucking amazing. You know, and it has been like, the social media consistency of it, like the outputs that you guys are doing, like the ratings, the numbers that are views, like it seems like it's very consistent and big. You guys are talking about very, very sometimes niche things, but also like things that everybody's into, and it's like in the now, you know? And it's the pop culture stuff that right now, and it's like everybody's into it, and it's just been booming. Like I said, you guys started very short, but it's been very impactful in not only the local game, but in, you know, like you guys have been over to UFC 300 and all that other stuff. You guys have done interviews with not just people like me, but pros, big names, all that stuff, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, like I said, to gas you guys up individually, all great people with their own great just mindset and just individual shots, the way they take it, the way you guys set things up, your questions, the way you guys just think about the sport individually. But like I said, when you guys came together, yeah, I knew it was gonna be just a banger.
Well, I think we all appreciate you saying that, man. You know, that's not that we do it for the...
yeah, you don't need the pat on the back,
yeah,
you know?
but, you know, everybody likes hearing that
Yeah.
their work is being recognized. You know?
Yeah.
So I think I could speak for everybody and say, like, we appreciate you.
I definitely send my likes every single time I see a post come up on your guys' pages, individually and all together, so yeah.
So
Appreciate you.
we got a few more questions because we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of pop culture, man, I actually want to get everybody's opinion on some of the fights that are coming out in the near future. We just heard recently that Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler are out, but
That's like,
Did we think
But
that
we
was
got
gonna
better
even go
fighting
through?
didn't we think that was all gonna happen though? Like that was just like riding on everybody's like back there, like, come on, when is McGregor gonna pull out? It wasn't like
Yeah.
if he was, it was like, when is he,
Yeah.
right? That sucks to say because I love him. I would love to see him fight, but I felt like that was everybody's mindset. Like, okay, when is he gonna pull out?
Yep.
When is this fight gonna fall through, you know?
Same with the Mike Tyson shit, bro.
Yeah, that's the sad one.
Thank God
but,
that
Cur-
fell through.
but Curtis,
Thank
you
Lord.
said a better fight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who's fighting, man?
Dude, Yuri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira.
Whole time. Yeah.
Definitely a better fight. I mean, they're both better fighters than McGregor and Chandler are at this point, let's be honest.
Yeah.
The first fight was insane. Alex almost got knocked out before he got the knockout back. So it could go either way the second time. Rematches in the UFC, the second fight's never the same as the first. It's always just a whole new fight. You might as well just wipe the slate clean. So we're getting a ridiculous banger fight again. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Well, who's your pick, man? We'll put you on the spot right here.
You know, like I just said, a lot of times they don't go the same way. So I got to pick Yuri Prochazka by something completely ridiculous and insane. He's going to just turn it into absolute chaos,
wild
which is
man
where
fight.
he lives. He's born in chaos. He thrives in chaos. So I think he's going to throw some ridiculous combo.
Pull out
Poaton's
a
going to
fucking
try
katana.
Poaton's going to try to counter it. He's going to somehow either just eat the shot like a Terminator and throw something back, or he's going to get around it and land something like a spinning back elbow or a flying knee or something stupid like that.
What about you, David? Who you picking for that fight?
Oh man! First of all, I just gotta say it's got like the vibe of like. Do you guys remember that old Spike TV show where they'd like what warrior do you think is gonna win? You know what I mean? That's how I feel. This one is like the samurai warrior versus like the Indian Inca like archer guy. You know what I mean? You know, it's like who's gonna win, the primal fighter or you know? It's like you know I love Yuri's mindset. You know the samurai mindset, and like you said, he's a wild man. I think he could do something crazy wild. But I mean, come on, man. My style: kickboxing, Muay Thai. I gotta go Patan.
Valid.
I just think fucking Stonehead's just gonna go in there and just just walk through him and just kind of like you said, just be the Terminator that he is on him and just you know find that shot and put him out with the hands. Hopefully that's my goal and I think it's gonna come through that way. But we'll see. I got Potan.
You know, and I gotta second that, bro. Like I'm leaning towards Pereira.
Yeah.
I think that based off of their last fights, Alex didn't take any damage, bro. Like he pretty much got his opponent out within what it was like the first minute of the fight, something like that.
Yeah, so they're still pretty fresh.
So he's fresh, and then I know Yuri had his legs banged up in that fight. So
That's true.
I'm thinking, and I might, you know, who knows? Once you get in there, that might all go out the window. But I'm leaning towards Chama because I just think he took less damage into that fight.
Shama.
I think Yuri's gonna take it. That samurai mindset. He's gonna come out with some weird shit. Just take it, you know. But he might be able to. Or he might take a left hook and be on the floor.
So who's your pick, though? You said Yuri, right?
Yeah, and I'll pick it.
You're picking
All right,
Yuri?
Adam,
And
tiebreaker.
Mr. Adams
Tiebreaker.
Mr. Adams picks himself.
Well, I
Actual
gotta-
expert here.
I gotta be like Yuri. I gotta get my transmitter ready for the
Yeah.
samurai gods to
Oh, there we
transmit
go.
their energy.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah.
They're giving me their answer. Hold on, guys. Shama.
Shama.
All that for Shama, bro.
Bro, like, come on. Like, let's be honest here, dog. Like, I love Yuri. Don't get me wrong.
I do too.
One of the moments that made my girlfriend fall in love with me truly was when I took her to the first UFC fight I ever took her to at a bar, which was OC Tavern. Shout out my boy Garrett, who was also there. And she proceeded to watch me and Garrett, him rooting for Glover, me for Yuri, scream, you know, like a man-child for Yuri, being like, please, Yuri, samurai power, as he won. And she's like, man, this is the man I love. You know, this guy's it. And as much as I love Yuri and the madman that he is, when has Alex Pereira not saved a card in the past however long? Let's just be honest here.
Yeah.
Let's also look at that same fight, like you were saying, where he took damn near no damage, beat the hell out of Yuri. Yuri, who also gets hit in every fight, even though he wins, as much as I love him, which is why I love him.
Yeah.
Not against the guy with hands of stone.
Yeah.
Not against Shama.
Don't take those ones.
Shama is what I'm taking because I was born with a working brain and working eyes, guys.
Just
All right, man.
cover the chin.
So,
I think we're gonna put money on
yeah,
that.
all right. And last question, and then we'll end the pod. We'll start here and we'll work our way this way. Just anything that you just want to tell the fans, anything you're working on, socials, anything like that.
Yeah, guys. You guys know where to find me, adam.araby. Gonna be keeping on training, keep on trying to interview cool guys like David. Trying to boost out more content for fight camp culture. Go rewatch some of the replays of the most recent Fighters Rep event. Honestly, that has been one of our best cards, you know, as three gentlemen who work for the promotion, who really try to put out as much effort as they can and really respect a lot of these fighters. Please go back and rewatch some of those. And as well as, I know you guys, it's not so much fight related, but I do make a little bit of mainstream acting films, you know, few short films that I got coming out. So keep an eye out for that, as well as a potential YouTube channel with some comedy skits coming out with some friends coming.
I'll fangirl over a movie with you in it.
Sure.
Facts. All right, Mr. Curtis.
Support your local fighters. Buy their tickets. Sponsor them. If you own a business, sponsor your local fighter. Put it on a banner for them. Put your logo on their shorts. This is how they get paid. This is how they live. They need your help. They need your support. If you love fights, which I know you do if you're watching this, pick your favorite fighter that's nearby you. Support them. That's all I got.
Oh man, we gotta give you a round of applause for that.
Bro, I got it, because thank you. Shit.
Shout out your socials. as
Oh
well.
yeah, I capture violence. If you want to see fights, follow me. People get beat up, and I am right there all the time.
Bro, you gotta,
All the time.
WWE over here promo type stuff.
Yes,
over here,
sir.
man.
If you
All
caught
the
a fade,
time.
you'll
You are
see
the-
Curtis.
All right, Mr. Death Dealer.
Yeah, as of me, I'm just gonna continue to be me doing the work, and hopefully it all pays off. As always, hard work does pay off. If you guys want to support me, like this gentleman said, you guys can hit me up with any sponsors that you guys have locally. I'll take them. I like to support my local businesses as well. That being said, watch me do violence. Come watch my fights, guys. I got that fight, UNF debut. We all know what date it is, July 6th. Guys, come up, watch me show out. The biggest thing is I just want to put on a great show for you guys. So like I said, come and watch the great show that I'm gonna try to put on up against a great opponent, and continue to watch the content that these guys put out as well too, because like I said, if it wasn't for them, I would just be fighting at bars for free and nobody would know who I am. So shouts out to these guys, and then yeah, watch me beat some people up.
Nice. And Mr. His Photography.
HAYK, HIS Photography. Just keep your eye out for more content. I'm going to be starting to do KO breakdown. So after your knockout on July 6th, we'll come back over here. We'll do a little breakdown of how you did that. So keep your eye out for that.
I like
Yeah,
that.
man. And this is Isaac Lawrence. Follow me on socials at Isaac Lawrence. I just want to say thank every single person here. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming out and doing this podcast. We do this here at Fight Fan Culture because, like I said before, we want to tell the fighter's story. To add to what Curtis says, man, support us, support your local fighters, support your local content creators. If you guys ever need anything, we are here. If you're a fighter, please reach out. We want your story to be told. And that's been another episode of Fight Fan Culture, and we are out.